Because, like most people, you often rehearse imagined, future conflicts, in the shower, where you create for yourself many worst-case scenarios, for your ideal, protagonist self to overcome. And like how you spend your time, in showers, you enter the dream world, to rehearse imagined, future conflicts, as well. In the dream world, your mental selves help prepare your physical self for a possible encounter in a haunted mansion, which is owned by a departed great-grandparent or aunt who was rich but without heirs. And you are a possible heir to the mansion and the great-grand fortune of the departed great-grandparent or aunt. To inherit the mansion and fortune, all you must do is survive for one night in the haunted mansion, while other possible heirs try to out-survive you during the same night in the haunted mansion. And this is the power of dreams. And this is how in this dream with your dream guide, friend, you will be able to rehearse the imagined, future conflict, possibility, of surviving one night in a haunted mansion. Now we begin the process of sleep, and to begin, we must focus on your doors. First, open the doors of your lungs, and let the outside air inside of you. And then open the doors to the rooms inside of you. And then let the air occupy the furniture, and the beds, and the bookcases of your rooms. And let the air turn on the televisions and the microwaves of your house. And then, let the air leave post-it notes about eating the last of the ice cream sandwiches that were within the freezers of your house. And let the air pocket the pens they used to write the post-it notes about the ice cream sandwiches. And let the air, if it chooses to, sign a lease and leave a security deposit equal to 2 months' rent for renting the rooms and open doors and furnishings inside of you. So, the outside air, which you invited inside of you, to become indoor air that forgets how that once they were ever outside air, and instead became convinced through the convenience of the rooms inside of you, that they were born a person in the year of the wingless and fangless snake. And as such a person, born in the year of the wingless and fangless snake, they find a room, lit by windows, within you, to read the law book, from their birth year. A law book, which will take many years to finish. Because, there are quick laws, that of course, need the help of the good, and kind police, and government. And slow laws, which take many years to observe. And the heir, thinking they are a person, will try to observe those laws, by measuring the thickness of their cuticles, and listen for patterns, or deep songs, within the rain. And now, you are asleep. And now, you are ready for another dream. This is the Haunted Mansion Dream. You begin, like most people, wanting to become a different person, and think that by using a different soap, you will become a different smell. And as a person with a different smell, you become a different person, and owning yourself with a new smell, you decide to stand behind your window curtains, and wrap up within them, to wait for someone to enter the room, and ask if you are there, and ask if you are behind the curtains, or in the room. You have no idea what you are attempting, because you live alone, and because you are a different person. You are not accustomed to your new eyes, and miss the moment when a tremendous happiness passes before your eyes. From the window, you see 4 children ghost around the parking lot. They attempt to haunt in circles, while under bed sheets. and you say, "Boo," at them, again, and again, until the children reply, "Boo," back. It should be noted that, seeing one child ghost in a dream, is important, because it means a message is near. But, when you see 4 ghost children in a dream, like what you see in this dream, it also becomes a very important message to witness, like how your next breath will be both true and false. And as you wonder what the very important message will be, and also wonder if each breath you inhale and exhale is true and false, there is a knock at the door. At your door is a horse. A lawyer horse. You have heard of horses before? How they won the great horse wars in the many years before you were born. And as a part of their victory over humanity, they took possession of the western part of the world, which meant the people who lived there needed to leave behind their houses and jobs in that part of the world, to the horses. Now in that part of the world, there are lawyer horses, and business horses, and many other types of horses. While horses and humans live in separate halves of the world, there are still those who must travel between the halves of the world, so long as they are given the proper documents by the host horse or human government. So now, before you, in the doorway of your apartment, a lawyer horse stands. You search your pockets for an apple, or a carrot, or oats. And you make a face of apology to the horse, because you were not expecting any guests in this dream. And you must contain your desire to touch the lawyer horse, because as another condition of their victory in the horse wars, it is forbidden for a human to touch or ride a horse without permission. The eyes of the lawyer horse do not give you permission. Instead, when you look into the eyes of the lawyer horse, you can tell that the lawyer horse has seen the devil 2 or even 3 times. That is the thing about eyes. They are full of communication. Look at your own eyes in any mirror and you will find that your eyes want to communicate with you about a lot of topics. While the eyes of the lawyer horse say they have seen the devil 2 or 3 times, you can also tell they are exaggerating about the devil, because it is only the horse devil who appears in every horse village on the anniversary of the first battle of the first horse war. And the horse devil is dressed like what was known once as a horse jockey, when there were such people, before the horse wars, when horses were once property and food for humans. Now the eyes of the lawyer horse communicate with you about an inheritance, or possibly a large fortune. And those eyes also communicate with you that the possibly large inheritance has been hidden within a mansion once owned by your great-great-great-uncle, who was also a famous weather personality on television. And those eyes also communicate that your great-great-great-uncle was very accurate with his predictions about the emotional weather. And then, those eyes communicate that the mansion will be hosting a yard sale within a week. And it is possible that the great fortune could be lost to a yard sale shopper before you find it. And then, the eyes say this to you with urgency. To inherit the mansion and fortune, all you must do is survive for one night in the mansion, while other possible heirs try to out-survive you during the same night in the mansion. The eyes also briefly mention that the mansion is haunted. The eyes do not go into detail about how the mansion is haunted, but they shake in a way that let you know it must be really bad. Like how when the fear bone appears in your skull some nights, and vibrates inside of your head, which makes the rest of your body vibrate, to know fear is within you. And then the eyes ask you for a glass of water. So you hand the eyes a glass of water, and then like that, You are inside of the haunted mansion with the eyes of the lawyer horse. There is no trick to this. Water has always been used as a gateway in dreams. In small glasses it is nothing more than a symbol, which becomes a key. But in large amounts, like swimming pools or reservoir lakes, they become another dimension of existence that can also exist simultaneously on Earth. And all one must do is exit one dimension for the other, with a splash. The mansion was a mansion that knew how to crumble. It sat on a crumbling hill. It is unknown which began to crumble first. The eyes thought the house and the hill inspired each other to crumble. It was a mutual pact of disintegration. Much like you see within couples who marry after high school, couples that like to start breaking down their individuality at an earlier point in life, so the later parts of life easily flow over them, like flash floods, or herds of Black Friday shoppers looking for a good deal on packages of tube socks. The eyes looked out to the lawn, and said it was a place you could lay upon and look at the stars, if the night in the mansion becomes too difficult to experience. Though the eyes had never laid on the lawn of the crumbling hill, or any lawn for that matter, to look at stars, or even to collect morning dew. The eyes tell you that so often there are ants in a lawn, and they are ants that will probably bite. And for eyes, ants are a terror. In the waking world, ants are often denied recognition, or misunderstood by the waking mind. Thus they appear often in dreams, and try to force their way into the mind, by entering the head through the path of least resistance. And with as much power as any pair of eyes may have in the dreaming world, or waking world, they have no power to resist the power of ants, when ants decide to march toward a particular place. You follow the eyes back inside the mansion, and you notice things you failed to notice before, because you paid so much attention to the eyes, in order to listen to them. But now you notice the wood of the mansion, and it spoke as well, but not clearly. But all the same, the wood of the mansion spoke as well, and it said, "Look at us crumbling. Are we not crumbling so well?" The darkened rooms of the mansion offer a lot of availability. Even the rooms with furnishings, they seem open and available for people or more furnishing, and even more darkness. And if it were not for the brightness of the eyes of the lawyer horse guiding you, you might not notice the availability within the rooms. You might instead only notice the full capacity of darkness within the house. And it would seem to be at full capacity, because you would be blind. You would be stumbling. You would be falling. You would be failing to find the great fortune. Now you ask the eyes, if all I need to do is survive the night in the mansion, to inherit the mansion, can't I just lock myself in a room and then look for the fortune after I survive when the sun rises? As eyes begin to answer your question, you feel your jacket pockets for a book to read. And you realize you did not bring a book to read, which is odd because your habit is to always carry a book in your pocket, so that when the opportunity arises, you can pull out a book to look attractive and intelligent to other people. People who find book readers attractive and intelligent. But you are without a book. So you decide you will have to do something like counting, to pass the time and keep your mind occupied. Especially after the eyes finish answering your question and leave the room, and leave you alone in the darkness. And in the dark, you find that you are holding a dangerous idea. And you ask yourself, how far can you walk with a dangerous idea? And how far can you hold it, because any dangerous idea is full of teeth or covered in teeth? And really such ideas likes to eat hands, and yet you hold it with hands. And you ask yourself, So how far until my hands will be eaten? When you are awake, or asleep, you must pull out the heart of any idea, until what is not an idea is just a thing. It is the heart of the thing you need. And some idea hearts will be made of teeth too. And what you need are gloves, otherwise, you won't have hands for holding other hands. After you have pulled the heart out of the dangerous idea, you now have a plan, and that plan is to fall asleep in the haunted mansion. And then wake when there is light enough to look for the great fortune, because without the eyes of the lawyer horse, you are without any light. And in your situation, light is the key to survival. You lay down on the floor and fall asleep within your dream. However, since you have fallen asleep in a haunted mansion, the spirits that inhabit the mansion now control your dream. And now you are in the rope dream. You begin in a town. And though you don't remember the years, you have spent many years living in this town. And it is a town unlike other towns. Towns where people maybe pull fossils out of the ground every day, or if not from the ground, then people pull fossils off shelves or out of fountains, or out of trees. Or maybe from each other. Because in dreams and in dream towns, fossils represent the collection of good memories and years, as items to be cherished but also given years of study, in order to replicate good memories and years so that more fossils may be created and found and pulled from the air. But in the town you live in, people are always finding ropes. And in this town, the ropes are a problem for people, and a problem even for the geese, who still stop during their migrations between south and north, though no one is sure how any survive the visits to return. Because when the geese visit, they confuse the ropes for something edible, like worms, or snakes, and the geese fill themselves with ropes. Their stomachs and intestines become tight and tied up, which leads to starvation, and then death. The words of outsiders have settled on the town. When the bus stops here, the bus stops in Rope Town. But that's not the name of the town. There were years when the fashion was to wear brown and the town was known as Brown Town. Other times it was known as Gray Town and White Town. Though the town was never called Blue Town, because the citizens are suspicious of blue. And the town has never been called Mansion Town, even though the town feels like it is this way because of the old mansion. No one can tell you where the old mansion stood, because it burnt down long ago, or why the ropes began appearing after the old mansion burned down. And even though no one understands a thing, like ropes appearing from thin air, that does not keep it from happening. There's a game. Not really a game. A story. The game comes in how people tell the story. How kids tell the story mostly. How kids hide ropes and then make the ropes appear. In the game you can either be a murderer, or the victim. You see boys in the park, and they could be like the boys in any park in the waking world. And the boys are under the trees with no branches because the city always trims them. Because many years ago kids were trapped by the ropes that blossomed from the trees at night. But under those trees was a boy, who stood surrounded by other boys. He spoke as boys do about stories from the Great War. He told about a soldier, mangled by machine guns or barbed wire or tanks or gas or horses or some other fantastic element of war, which are unrealistic creations that make no sense unless you've seen them. But once there was a war, and it was filled with weapons vile to the same earth from which they were born. The boy told about a soldier who didn't know that he was dead. Then he let a tangle of muddy rope fall from under his shirt at the waist. He let it dangle out and into his hands and between his fingers and walked around the group, and the boy cried, "What happened to me? What happened to me?" Because the boy played a soldier that didn't know he was dead. And even though you have seen books with color pictures of what the insides of a person look like, you can feel a muddy brown rope tangle within your belly, like a brown mess is inside of you. Sometimes in the town, when you feel restless, you decide to go walking and feel pulled by your guts to walk, like you are being pulled by a rope. An invisible rope connected to the ropes in your belly. And sometimes when you are walking, you wonder if maybe the ropes appear after someone stops walking, because the rope did its job, and then it will wait on the ground, or in a tree, or in a bird. But you feel the ropes in your body stretch out from your stomach and pull you up, and off of the ground, and into the sky, and away from the town of ropes, and stories about ropes, toward two suns above you. And as you near the two suns above you, you realize they are not suns, but are the eyes of the lawyer horse, glowing brightly from the reality of the original dream. And the eyes regretfully inform you that you did not survive the night within the haunted mansion, and you will not inherit the great fortune hidden somewhere inside the haunted mansion. And the eyes regretfully inform you that now you must wake up and live within another day, but it will at least be another day where you will not have to rehearse at least one more imaginary future conflict, because you have already experienced at least one imaginary future outcome. And now you are awake and ready for another day. This has been the Haunted Mansion Dream, with your dream guide, friend. Dream guides are written and recorded by Chad Redden.